Well. Hello. How's everyone? This is Yazat, artist and author, back again. We're back again. We're back again. Hope you guys are cool. So, welcome to my channel. I am here to draw this art piece. I'll continue do a continuation of what was going on yesterday's show. Happy to have you here. Hope you're having a great week so far. We've reached the middle of the week, the working week on a Wednesday. And every day might as well be the same because it doesn't matter when you come to watch this. We're here for you, and I'm happy that you're here for me too. So, welcome. Let me just check a few things, and let's see. Yeah, trying to make any mistakes today. My apologies for yesterday. I realized that I was not speaking into. I was not being heard, and I was saying a lot of stuff, and it's kind of disappointing that you guys didn't hear anything I was saying. For those of you who have been trying to, get in the bandwagon, that would have probably been, not cool. And I apologize for that again because it was an unforeseen circumstance, and yeah, stuff like this happens. So yeah, I hope I will do everything I can to make sure it doesn't happen again. So we can move forward on that. Happy to have you here. Hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining this stream. My name is Yazat, artist and author. I'm doing this art piece to show that it's possible for anyone to become a digital artist if you so choose. It's never easy to start things. I'm not trying to, lie to people about stuff. Without further ado, let's get stuck into this drawing. So I'm just gonna continue from where I stopped yesterday. I believe I still have my sergeant brush selected. I still have my color selected, so I try to make sure I don't mess with too many things in between. I can just come straight back in here and just continue my work. Hope you guys are cool. Hope you're welcome in the right side of the morning. Welcome again. I did shout out Belemi Press 5 yesterday. I'm going to shout that user out again today and say thank you for joining my broadcast. Thank you for joining my channel. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do that, and I hope that everyone else does the same too as well. So just making sure that everyone knows that I do appreciate you guys, and I do appreciate the viewership, and you're here to have a great time, and you will. It's a learning experience being presented, and my goal is to teach whatever I know. I may not know very much, but the little I know, I will teach. As a people who can really draw.
Welcome to my channel.
Welcome.
Said cheat viewers on SweetYank for d.xyd/r2i.
Yeah, I think my favorite bots are back. Yeah, well, so as I was saying, my channel is for everyone who would like to also understand the idea of drawing on digital. It may be a bit daunting because, yeah, you may not know how to draw even on paper, but drawing on digital is something that anyone can do. It's like playing games. You see sometimes people play games, and some people are great at it, some people are not so great at it. I was looking at an advertisement yesterday. There was this gentleman who does art. Great presentation. There was an advertisement. He was talking about the fact that if it's easy for you to learn how to read and write, yeah, then it should be easy for you to draw. And he was very right about that. He was very correct about that. In my opinion, if it's easy for you to just pick up a game, just buy a console and just pick up a pad and start playing. You may not be the best in that game, but you're having fun, right? And that's kind of what this is. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying yourself. It's about expressing yourself. And if you notice, like in gaming, if you look at people who even You look at people who post, who stream. A lot of them are not like the best players in the world, right? Not everybody who streams is a professional gamer. So that's something that bears mentioning, because not everybody on planet Earth is an expert in every. Like if everybody was an expert in everything, they wouldn't need subject matter experts now, would you? You wouldn't need professionals, because everyone is a professional. Everyone knows every skill, and it's like, oh yeah. But the reality is that a lot of times when you get a job, like it's like when you get a job, you try to learn that job, try to learn a new skill that you didn't have before, and it's something like this that it lets you know that it's not easy to learn a new skill, but it's possible. As I say, nothing good in life comes easy. So if it's something that you really want, and you would take the time out to put yourself in that position, that's all I'm trying to tell you to do is put yourself in that position, give yourself that chance. If you can learn how to play games, if you can learn how to learn skills for a new job, which is likely far more complicated than what you do, anything you could ever draw, and trust me, digital art will be nothing for you. And that's my own argument. The guy made a very good point that if you can write, and you should definitely be able to draw, because writing is a skill that not many people know how to do very well. If you have that skill, it means that you have the ability to learn. And writing is learned, it's a learned skill. Playing games is a learned skill. Like when you get better at games is when you learn to master the controls of those games. The more you play the game, the better you get at it. And there's some people who, whenever they play the game, it always looks like they don't know what they're doing. But there's the joy factor there. But a lot of people play games for fun. Not everybody plays games to win. Not everybody plays games because they want to beat people. They want to be number one in the charts and stuff. Everybody has their own motivations, and it's not everybody who plays like it's an adult. Some people are like young adults, who are teenagers, some people are even kids. And kids have the best ability to learn because they understand that they're in a learning phase. The issue with adults is that adults think that they know what they need to know, and they hit a certain point in life. However, we don't realize that as whether we're adults or not, we are still like children in the sense of learning. There's still so much to learn in life that we have to always keep our minds open to the fact that we have a lot of things to pick up in life that we may not have known prior to that part of our life, that part of our existence. So we have to be able to keep our mind open to the fact that there's skills and abilities that we are yet to absorb, even when we get older. Because you see some people who are in their 50s and 60s going to school, and you think to yourself, oh, what do you want to learn at that age? As in, you wouldn't really know, because everybody has what it is that they're trying to learn. And they figure that the best way for them is to get back to school to learn that thing. And not everybody learns what they need to learn in school. We'll just pick up a book, so we'll just go to a video, so we'll just buy a course to learn what they need to learn. I know somebody who bought an art course. The guy is a great artist himself. He still bought an art. I think his wife bought him an art course, and he's doing great. He loves it. He's doing great at it. So his wife knows his passion for art, and it wouldn't surprise me if one day maybe he does that. It wouldn't, because it's really good. I met a lot of guys who are really good artists. They know how to play the guitar. They know how to play instruments. One day to play the violin. One day to do a lot of different things. One of them are people are really skilled. People are really amazing. The issue is that there's so many things taking up their time in life that they just don't have any time to do anything else except work. And even when they do work, they don't know how to divide their time so they can just do other things that they actually love to do. And even myself, despite the fact that I do put this forward, I do have things I would love to do that I don't necessarily make the most time for. So it's also a learning experience for me as well. But there's things I would like to do as well that I'm not really doing right now. like to improve upon. So when you see me doing some stuff in this channel you don't recognize, don't be surprised. Because yeah, I'm still learning. Every day is a learning experience. Every day is something new for you to figure out, something new for you to decipher. That's what makes life worth living, as God had made it. That's what makes that's what makes life cool, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that in the chat. I'd love to know what your thoughts on that is or are. Hope you're enjoying the live so far. And if you're just coming, my name is Yazat. I'm an artist and author. I have a website called yazat.me. Please feel free to go on there to see what you like. I'm just coloring this now with my regular sergeant brush. I love the sergeant brush because it is multi-layered. I have a lot of things I can do with it. I can detail with it. I can block with it. I can do a lot of different things with it. So even despite my experience using the brush, there's still a lot of things I need to learn about this brush because it's such a layered brush, such a powerful brush, powerful tool. And yeah, there's thousands of other brushes you can use. I just happen to use this one. It just makes things easier for me when I'm trying to teach you guys stuff here because I want you to understand that it's not really your brush that matters, it's you. Everything I'm doing here, you can do with a regular round brush. You don't need to have a special brush. You can just do it with a regular round brush. And I'm good to go. The day is going well. Hope you've had something to eat this morning or drink, or if it's your afternoon or evening, hope you're good. Whatever you need to do in your end for yourself and your family. Hope your family is well. Hope you are well. Wherever you are, know that you're blessed as well. I'm just like doing a block of this somewhat. Supposed to be more artistic using this brush, like more watercolory to keep it that aesthetic. That's why I love using Corel Painter because it has so many brushes like that that make your stuff look traditionally painted. Kind of happy with this, so I believe I will have a look at my sketch layer. I'm going to disable that sketch layer, see what it looks like. Right. Let's see. So my software seems to be kicking off again today. My apologies, it's pretty early. Doesn't usually start this until much later, but it started it early today. I didn't have any incidents yesterday, but today it's kicking off again. Not really sure why. I've looked through my settings and looked through a lot of different things to make sure that I won't have any hiccups, but yet and still it's happening again, so I have to rectify it. Please give me a few minutes. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're cool. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining the live. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate having you here. You guys are really, really awesome. Really thank you for your patience on this. It's like an ongoing problem, and hopefully we're able to find a way to rectify it soon. I'm working on it every day, so be rest assured I'm actually looking for a solution for this problem, and that's where my focus is and has been for the last few days. Sadly, I've not been able to resolve the issue. Yesterday it didn't happen, so I felt okay, the issue is resolved, but it happened again today, so my bad on that. Let's go back again. I don't mind doing this again, so hope you guys don't mind watching either. You guys are very patient, and I really appreciate your patience on this. So I'm gonna color this again. Hopefully I pray to do an even better job this time, if that's possible. Welcome to my channel. If you're just arriving, my name is Yazat. I'm an artist and author, and I really appreciate having you here. Please feel free to send me a chat, follow me, and also visit my website, which is at yazat.me, which is yazart.me, which is yazart.me. Please feel free to go on there and see anything you like, purchase whatever you want. That will support me, support the channel, help me to do this, do even more. So hope you're cool. And as you can see, I'm using my Sergeant brush again to redo this piece. I'm trying to save it piecemeal. Let's see if there's any issues there. So none so far. I'm coloring using my Sergeant brush on my layer for the female character. To get everything. Sometimes it's a bit of a block, but I'm trying to go according to the lines of her clothing, the parka she's wearing. My memory is set pretty high for this program, so I don't know if maybe my memory, I need to increase my memory or something. But it's already pretty high, so I'm not really sure how much more memory I need. So it's kind of weird what's happening. If you have any queries, let me know in the chats. Will I color? I'll continue coloring this character's arm now. This parka arm, my yellow color. I will outline things afterwards with darker shades. You know how I roll. When I finish with that, I should be able to go to something else. Maybe I'll go to the dock they're on, if that one's sorted out. And then I'll go to the river, and then that's pretty much the end of the scene. Makes me wonder, like, how much memory did these brushes actually take? Maybe there's something I'm missing. If I had a rough idea, I'll be able to judge what I'm doing. Maybe do some angling with the settings. Coloring this through. This is where I talk about having your line arts done correctly. I didn't do the best job here, so I have to kind of do it now in post. Make sure everything is seamless. So this is why you need to have clear line art. The line art needs to be clear and clean and neat, and everything needs to connect to something, so you know exactly where you're drawing, exactly where you're coloring, exactly where you're rendering, so everything is seamless. I do try to do that sometimes. I do try to, but sometimes I just don't. I really need to be mindful of. For those who, I was speaking about learning digital art drawing, any software you like can be used in this instance. You don't have to use what I'm using. You don't have to, use any kind of software that you think doesn't make. You just basically use any software that you like that makes you happy. Everybody likes what they like. Everybody's like a car. Everybody likes which type of car they like, or a phone. Can't tell people what kind of phone they like. So that's why it's personal. You have to know what sort of software lights your fire. You go for that software. That software makes sense for you. As you can see, I'm going along the lines of the clothes. I'm trying to keep along the lines of the clothes to give it that look. I'm trying to give it, not just coloring randomly. I'm going along the lines of the clothes to make sure it's in line. Make sure that it looks the way it's supposed to look as much as I can. When the human eye follows things, it tries to make sense of what it's looking at. So when you do stuff like this, the human eye will like it because it makes sense. And it flows. That's how nature is. As God made it. Nature flows. That's what you need to do with your art. And also you can follow along what I'm doing in real time if you so choose. That's why I'm doing this stuff. Otherwise I could do recordings and then just do a narration and speed them up. Having said that, I will be looking to do training videos or compilations of my lives. Put them on my website for sale. So if you miss this ones, then you can, when I do make them, you can get them on the website for a good price for your personal use and personal tutelage. Just watch. A lot of times, the teachers who have a lot of experience, they just tell the students to just watch. You learn a lot by watching what your teacher is doing compared to always writing notes. I try to have a balance of both when I'm learning. A lot of times the teacher is like, don't write. And it's true, I understand exactly what that means. But sometimes I feel like the information I'm given is so valuable. I need to write it down. That's the kind of guy I am. So I do tend to make notes, very quick notes, of what's been said. I keep track of what my teacher is saying. Make sure I'm not in the dark so I can actually peruse my notes, go over the main points of what they're saying. Every teacher likes a student who remembers what they were taught by them. It gives them a lot of joy because it means they're listening, and listening is a skill that a lot of people seem to take for granted these days. And something that we need to, if you have kids, somebody needs to imbibe in children as much as you can. And make sure they know how to listen because a lot of people don't listen these days. Listening is something that can save your life. Even the Bible says faith coming by hearing and hearing the word of God. So if you don't know how to listen, you miss a lot of things, a lot of very important things. So it's very, very key to listen to people's advice, even if you think you know more than them. As they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. So even if they say you think you know more than somebody, which might even be true, doesn't mean you can't learn a thing or two from them when the time comes. 'Cause I think every interaction that God gives us in life is for a reason, it's for a purpose. So if that interaction, if you're interacting with somebody, chances are that's how God wanted you to wanted it to be, and there's something that God wants you to get from that thing. So who I've interacted with in time with professionals, so they know what they're doing, very focused people. They know exactly how to achieve what they're trying to achieve, and those are things I think I could learn from them. Not everything I could learn from them, but I could learn certain things from them that were useful. That's where wisdom comes in. Discernment. You have to know what to learn and what not to learn, what to listen to, what not to listen to. Because what you listen to can affect your life. If not careful, what you listen to can affect your life adversely. That's why listening is so important. Listening is something that you have to take very seriously. So if you don't know how to listen, you're struggling with that, pray to God for help to learn to listen. The Bible says that God is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. So if you are struggling with something, you've tried everything, it's not working, take it to God. Be surprised what will happen. Accept Christ as your Lord and Savior and let Him change your life. Things can change for you in an instant. That's what happened with me. That's how I learned certain things I struggled to learn. I struggled with before. That's a story of another day. But yeah, so you guys, as you can see, I'm coloring this in a certain way. I'm not just coloring randomly. I'm trying to color around and make trying to make certain arcs when I'm coloring to get a certain look. If you look close enough, not looking close enough, you likely won't see anything, which is also fine. So thank God we finally to finish this. I'm gonna just do a bit of a touch up on it and go from there. I don't know which ones goes on the side notes. I tend to wait until later to talk about stuff. Oh, if I do talk about stuff. I don't know if how many of you watch Korean stuff, Korean dramas and whatnot. So I am somebody who thoroughly enjoys Korean drama. The only issue with Korean drama sometimes is just the writing style, certain things in terms of like the bad guys and certain other things as to how the bad guys interact with the good guys. And if there happens to be a situation where someone has to be found, how they tend to find those people. I find it really funny sometimes how they go about it. But other than that, I think Korean cinema is like just a really interesting genre to watch. They have very engaging stories, and I think they have pretty much perfect casting. Like whenever they cast characters, they literally cast like the character. They cast exactly who they need to cast in that role and so on. I think that's something that they tend to get very well is a casting. I don't know what the casting process entails. Because it always seems to be on point. The casting process seems to be very thorough, and I have a lot of respect for it because they always seem to get the right people playing the right characters, and that's quite admirable if you ask me. So as you can see, I've switched off my sketch layer so I can have a look at what's going on here. I can make my changes as needed. Make sure that my character looks the way I need it to look, and there's nothing out of place. I'll switch it back on soon. I've got an album on my website called The 12 Tribes of Yasharala. If you like music, feel free to go on there and peruse what you want. Music is a big part of my life, and I do try to make stuff that I feel would be nice for people to listen to. If you like that sort of thing, feel free to go on there and see what you like. I do have a novel series called The 12 the Judgment Land Saga. It's a horror series, lovely series. I've been writing for a long time since I was a kid. I'm sure you'd love it. One of the things I tend to do very well is write good stories. I'm probably better at writing stories than I am drawing, to be honest. But I would like you guys to probably, I would like you guys to go on there and buy it and tell me what you think about it. That would really make my day. Like, I would like to know what you think about it. But yeah, as I said, it's horror, so horror is not for everyone. But still, feel free to go on there and get it. I have the bundle as well. It's a 4 part series, so if you want to get the bundle, it's like 4 parts in one. You can get that, so you can get one of the books or two or however many you want out of the 4 books. You won't regret it. Yeah, I'm feeling like I need to do some highlights on this though. I think what the beauty of watercolor a lot of times when you do watercolor is when you add the extra highlights. But I'll get to that. I'll see what my best course of action is. Right now, I need to switch on my sketch layer. Go back to my hair. I need to go and select a darker shade of yellow. Let's do that now and see how that goes. Oh, perfect. Perfect. I'm not sure if it's perfect, but we'll see. I've said in the past that if you know how to manipulate your colors, I think this is a bit too dark for me. If you know how to manipulate your colors, you will not need to do highlights as much. Having said that, a lot of times you may need to make explicit changes to your style to make it look the way you want it to look. So I'm not beyond that. I'm not beyond doing that. It's too same shade. Maybe I should have left it the way it was. Maybe a bit better. A little better. Let's see. Sergeant is a bit of a weirdo sometimes, to be honest. This is not what I want. You gotta have to be patient with me while I choose because this is how I am. I like to choose my colors to be exactly the way I want them to be, as with every other artist. Too dark. It's too dark. So let me check something else. Better. The yellow is making it really hard for me to have a good shade without being too heavy-handed. Yeah, this is okay. I can manage this. So I believe I was talking about Korean cinema, Korean series. I think for a long time people have realized how good Korean series tend to be. So it's, yeah, for me it's a real thing. It's like they come up with a lot of stuff that is like very niche, right? Like a lot of things that you don't really ever see in the Western counterparts. Even though ironically, they do tend to copy. They'll get inspired by Western counterparts, do a lot of things. But I think that's more Japanese. Koreans seem to be more focused on doing what they want to do rather than trying to be like someone else. And that's why I think I like their stuff a bit more because it's pretty good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's another one called Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland is like Japanese, some Korean, I believe. Yeah, and that's really good. Yeah, like it's amazing the number of stories those guys churn out in manga. Like manga is just like a whole different world, as people know. So you can't be denied that Japanese have great storytelling ability, but they don't make the best live action stuff. I think the best live action stuff in that side of town goes to China. The advent of people like Jackie Chan, Yin Biao, Sam Wong, those guys, you'd be hard pressed to think about any other name maybe apart from Donnie Yang that really screams Hong Kong cinema like those guys. A lot of West stuff was going on there, to be fair. That can't be discounted. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of people that too kind of two-faced. If they do things behind the scenes that are not good, I don't really take to that. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Perfect, but I'm just saying like keep the same energy. If you're this nice person on screen, be the nice person in real life too. So that's all. But obviously, that's where the whole acting thing kind of falls apart for me. Because you expect so much from people that you think you know on screen just because you watch them do certain things. But in reality, they're very different people. In reality, they're nothing like their characters on screen. So I don't really go around expecting people to be who they are on screen. That's not my thing. I do think that it takes a lot of perseverance to be an actor because for you to play so many different people, it must effort you at some point. You know, at some point it has to. The human being that you are, right? Thinking about and being somebody else is not a joke, man. Trying to be somebody else, playing a character, it's not for the faint of heart. At some point, you probably have a case of lost identity. It's happened so many times to so many of the greatest actors. The guys who have the indistinguishable accents and all those things, they have to literally do coaching to get the accent back and stuff. It's kind of sad, sad state of events. See them in that position. Yeah, that's one of the ones I can think of. That's from Japan. That makes sense to me. That's like it, For Japan, like Alice in Borderland, I can't really think of anything else from Japan that makes sense. They have a lot of stuff on there, but they just can't be bothered to dub it. You know, they leave all their stuff in Japanese. And it's like that's great, but some of us actually need those subtitles, those dubs. You know, used to be a time I used to really enjoy reading stuff like Naruto. When I watched Naruto, Naruto was in Japanese, and I was reading the subtitles. I was fine with it, but with time these days, I don't really use the subtitles like I used to when I was younger. So I try to avoid reading subtitles. And what I find is that I can barely watch anything from Japan anymore because they're not really big on dubs. They are more enthralled by subtitles, and I can understand why because a lot of people like the Japanese acting. Like even when people play games from Japan, like Street Fighter and stuff, they love the Japanese language version compared to the English version. The English version, in my opinion, is on par. You know, but I also like the Japanese version. When I play the game, I keep it Japanese too. But my point is that they're not big on they're not big on translations. And I think that's what's kind of slowing them down. I think if they did more translations, they'd get more viewership. I could be wrong about that. If everybody has my hang up of having to have an English dub, we just read and get on with their life. Just because I have an issue with it doesn't mean anyone else does. That's perfectly fine. What I find though is I just don't watch their stuff as a result. I can't speak on majority of stuff. The one I can speak on is Alice in Borderland, and that was uh, that was a great series. One of the best I've ever seen on Netflix, or let's say in life period. So yeah, whenever they do it, then they knock it out to the park. Whenever they do that whole dubbing thing, they knock it out to the park. It becomes a phenomenon. If you haven't seen it, you should go and see it. But it's pretty violent. If you don't like violence, then yeah, just avoid it. But everything is violent these days. I myself, I do have like some violence in my work. Obviously, it's horror, right? But ironically, I'm not the biggest fan of watching violence. That makes sense. I know you'd be like, how do you write violence and yet you don't like to watch violence? Doesn't make any sense. So it makes sense to me. My point is that basically I don't like to watch stuff like that often, unless there's a good story behind it. But I don't like mindless violence. That's that's something I just can't be bothered with, really. And everybody knows like Japan is the home of mindless violence when it comes to anime. You see a lot of characters who are just ultra violent, hyper violent. You know, that's with manga. Ichi the Killer and all these characters and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen anything as violent then or now. It's still one of the most violent things you ever see on film. So I'm gonna go and choose another layer, another darker shade, so I can keep layering this. I'm just gonna keep layering it and layering it. I feel happy. I might do some light highlights as well. I feel that this parka calls for it. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Yeah, another cool thing about Alice in Borderland is the soundtrack. Soundtrack is really, really good. They have some brilliant composers in Japan. It's another thing. The composers are nearly second to none. They have their own style. They always have their own style, right? Manga is his own thing. Look at the early manga. They didn't really have the kind of style they have today. A very specific style of drawing that they have was developed over time. And the good thing about them is that they tend to stick with what they do. They didn't say, "Oh, I don't like your style, so I'm going to have a different style." Having said that, they do tend to have a slew of different styles when it comes to drawing manga. But those styles are recognizable. So if you choose a style, it's still going to be a recognizable style. The eyes are going to be a thing. The head shape is going to be bigger than the body, stuff like this. But they have different styles of manga, like the one they use for like Street Fighter. That one is more proportional, like the body parts are more proportional to the rest of the body compared to like maybe even Naruto. Naruto is a bit more realistically drawn. If you talk about Dragon Balls, now Dragon Balls is drawn classically as a classic manga style of drawing. Big head, small body type deal. So it's the story that counts, right? It's the story that matters. And, they tend to have a slew of stories that is like, where did they get these stories from? The stories are really, really, really in depth. And they have so many of them. It's like, which one? That's why I don't really bother trying to watch any because there's just so many of them. It's like, how do you keep up? Go to Crunchyroll, it's like there's tons of manga there. It's too many to watch. Having said this, in terms of live action, yeah. So when it comes to animation, like yeah, I think the West still is still number one when it comes to animation. But in terms of like series animation and stuff, then yeah, I think Japan could have that on lock. And sometimes they do tend to make like films, manga films that are really, really good. Ironically, the ones I can think of that are really good are still the old school ones. The other ones I can think of are recent, are decent, are like Bubbles, I think, a Bubble. Then there's some other ones. Yeah, another one, I think. Bubble is very aesthetic. They do have mangas like that where they just want to just show you what they can do. Just like the Wings of Hanamis was a manga that they were trying to just show you what they're capable of doing. The manga. I watched that one a long time ago. It was one of the first real mangas they did that really woke people up to the abilities of the animators in Japan and showed you that these guys are serious. These guys don't play around. They're plenty serious. Need to be taken seriously. So Wings of Hanamis was a very good movie. Very well done. Haven't seen it, you should go and see it. That was a brilliant series. Not a series, it was a film. So it was a brilliant film. So now coming to Korea, Korea tends to do more dubs, which is why I tend to like them. They tend to get very good voice actors, very good actors in general to do their stuff. And if they have to, they train the actors to play their roles in terms of like fighting and all this stuff. So it's very believable what they're doing. If they don't, they tend to have very good stuntmen. Stuntmen are really, really good. But the storylines are usually very dark storylines. Stuff to talk about in that stuff is it's not really fun. Not really for kids. When they say 15, 15 is like they're 15 is like they're 18. If you ask me. They use 15 a lot because I think 15 is how they get majority of people to watch their stuff. But yeah, honestly, a lot of that stuff should be 18, not even 15. Because yeah, the kind of blood and the kind of violence they put in their stuff is like insane. I think I need a darker shade. So I'm gonna go for darker shade now. I think I'm done with this one. When I'm done, I will do maybe a lighter shade. And then I'm pretty much done with this parka. I can do her jeans and then maybe her boots as well. Maybe I should have done those while I was doing the top. Maybe it's the same color. Maybe it's a different color. I don't know. We'll see. There's one I watched called The Martial Arts Officer. I think it's new. And it's like this guy who just enrolls into a kind of program. It's a kind of law enforcement program, but it's not really official. It's just like citizens helping the government and so on. But basically what they do is they keep criminals under tabs. Basically look after those criminals, keep track of where they are, when they with their ankle tags and all this stuff. And this kind of let me know, like, a lot of time when I watch this stuff, I tend to pick up certain things. I was like, yeah, this ankle tag stuff, man, is must really suck for it must really suck for criminals to wear that stuff all the time and to not have any real freedom because like freedom is basically you can go around and do whatever you want so long as you're not committing a crime. However, those ankle tags on, they will always know where you are, what you're doing to a decent extent. When I say what you're doing, I'm not saying they just know by osmosis. Like they would try and like figure out, they try and figure out what's going on, where you are, by your location. So these guys basically, their job is to go and keep those ankle tags juiced up. So basically, they go around getting those things, keeping those guys in track, and yeah, a lot of mayhem, as you can imagine in a Korean show. A lot of mayhem ensues as a result because of these really, really sick people who don't want to be kept track of. And it's kind of baffling to me why they would do ankle tag. If someone needs to have an ankle tag on them, why release them from prison? Why not just keep them in prison? Because that person will never feel like he's free. You always feel like he is watched. You always feel like he's been trailed. You always feel like he's been And that can mess with your psyche, that can mess with your mental. Yeah, it's really a shame when you see what prisoners are subjected to sometimes, but at the end of the day, you don't want to end up in that place. You shouldn't commit any crimes. Because you don't know what they're going to do to you when you get in there. You have no idea what they've got planned. You don't know what they've been putting in place, especially for you when you get there. That's how life is. A lot of times you'll be thinking to yourself, why did this happen when I got here? The people who went to prison and came out and never had to have uncle tags. When that whole uncle tag stuff started, now everybody has uncle tags. It's like, that stuff, man, must be really, really messed up. That series had that guy going around as a kind of martial arts officer. He saw initially, before he became one, he saw one of them being trying to stop criminal, and the criminal got the better of him. Before he could move anywhere, the guy came to save the cop. They're not really cops, but you know what I mean. He helped out the cop, and they now decided to ask him to join their program. And after a few outings, he joined that program and stuff. So basically, they just go around keeping those guys in check. And this was the reason why I like Korean shows, because they do a lot of novel things you don't see everywhere. Never seen a program that had guys who chase guys that have uncle tags. It's like that's as random of a premise you can ever think of. You know, it's a very good premise. And they tend to bring all these ideas and they tend to brainstorm these ideas and they make it work, make those ideas work for themselves. And yeah, I think one of the best things Netflix did was to pally up with those guys because they have an ish ton of content to put on Netflix. They have so much content. Some of them are good, some of them not so much. But yeah, content is king, as they say. So if you have content, you're the one winning. That's why I think Netflix is the premier one, the premier, the premier dog in the game. I think it's partly because of those guys. If you ask me, I could be wrong, but I think it's because they have those Korean shows on there, and they have some really amazing cinematics in them. You look at some shows like Sweet Home. That show, the production value of that show is better than a host of Hollywood movies. If you ask me, it's the CGI they use for that show is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. They're capable of doing that sort of stuff. It shows why they are so good and they're so treasured by Netflix because they bring out so many varied kind of shows. They have another one called Young Song Creature. All this stuff I'm laying out for you. If you have time, not by force. I don't always have time to watch stuff. This is like maybe like a year's or more worth of watching. I'm telling you right now in just like 5 minutes. Right, so I'm just going to switch off my sketch layer and check to see what is happening below for my female character. Looks about right, I guess. Trying to see if there's anything else I need to do on here. I think she looks cool. I don't think there's much else I need to do. Okay, just giving it a once over to make sure everything looks seamless, looking out of place. I decided to give it an overarching layer to add certain things I may feel I need to add, or maybe not. As you can see, when you do certain things with your layering, you don't have to be so concerned about adding any highlights. But I might add highlights here in general. Right, let's go. I think I'm okay with this. I'm gonna switch my layer back on and think about what next to do. About those highlights. I'll do hers first and then maybe I'll do his. Looks good, if you ask me. Anything you have to add, please let me know in the chats. In case you're joining me for the first, this is Yazat, as an author. I am drawing this art piece to let people know the ease at which you can do digital art if you so choose. Digital art is a beautiful experience. Anyone can get into. You don't have to be an expert to be able to get into something like this. You just have to make time for yourself and believe in what you're doing. That's literally all you have to do. Feel free to go on my site, which is www.yazad.me. I have a novel, which is a horror novel called The Drummondland Saga, a 4-part series, which you can get on there for a competitive price. Just feel free to go on there and buy the ebook or go on Amazon and get the paperback. I do have an album called The 12 Tribes of Yesharala, which I do think you would love as well. You can listen to it on my website. You can also pay for it as well as a download. Please feel free to do either of these. Feel free as well to check out my merchandise, which has my art pieces on them in the form of t-shirts, books, canvases, pins, blankets, tote bags. I've also got stationery on there, beautifully designed stationery I'm sure that you, your family members will love, for your kids. Feel free to please go on there and see what you like. Thank you so much. That would be so cool for me. I really appreciate the support. Getting back to this side, yes, I believe I've selected my color. I need to check to see if this color makes sense or not. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense. So I need to make it make sense. Select something a bit lighter. Lighter side. Yeah, I want something a bit muted. I want something to be too dark. Let me be a bit too muted, but let me just see. Well, that's a bit too light if you ask me. I want something that's a bit more muted. I want it muted because it doesn't have to be super bright because it's gonna contrast with what's already there. So that's all I need is that contrast. Because when I was 5 years old, I used to do that. I used to draw absolute white. White is absolute white. That's what I used to do when I was 5. Guess what? I'm no longer 5. So I'm gonna do things very differently though. Oh, bro. Let's see. Is this better? That's way too muted. Goodness. Probably should have gone what I did before. Let me undo and see if that will bring back the previous color. Yeah, probably should stop doing that. Don't be lazy. Let's get in there and get the color we want. Yeah, I think this is fine. Maybe I'll stick with this time. I don't know if I'm gonna use a different brush. Let me try use my standard. I think I'll do highlights on a different layer. Let me try that instead. So I think I will use a different brush. Then I have to draw it small. I don't want it to be too pronounced. Maybe I should stick with my brush. I don't really know. Let me think. I think I might stick with my brush and do my layer, my highlighting on this layer instead. See how it goes. Yeah, let's stick with this brush. It's okay. Okay. I don't know if this will be a suitable one for him, but we'll see. they're kind of wearing raincoats, right? So there should be some kind of like not raincoats, but jackets that have stuff uh, shiny. They're parkas, right? So that jacket, that raincoat, parka. On this, they highlight this one. Thank you. Okay, so I'm better than I expected. Okay, so I think we got the highlights down. Next thing I'm gonna go for now are her jeans. Yeah, let's go for the jeans. So I'm still sticking with my sergeant brush to do all these. I don't absolutely need to use another brush. I felt the need to, but I just stuck with this one. I think I do a decent job with it. Characters are small, so it's not really super imperative to use another brush. It's gonna be more detailed. I don't really want it to be super detailed. I just want it to be nuanced and so on. I don't really know what this is until when I take off the line arts, then you see, the beauty behind it. Let me do that now. Let's see what that looks like. So as you can see, yeah, the character, see how she looks now. Looks more alive, doesn't she? See the nuances in her color of her clothes, the different shadings. It's more pronounced now without the line art. That's the whole purpose. I wasn't really that great without line arts in the past, but I knew deep down that I could do a decent job without line arts kind of blocking my work. But you need line arts to get a clean work. Sometimes you don't need line art if you want to just draw something. across the top of your head, you can literally do that. But as you can see, the painting is coming more alive. The distribution of colors, distribution of shading and shadows. And if I feel the need to, I can still work on these posts in post. I don't really tend to do that online because I just feel like maybe it might be boring to you guys. But at the end of the day, this is a general thing you need to learn. It's just how to draw and just how to be patient when making your drawings. Believe in yourself, believe in what you're capable of doing. That's what we're here. We're here to believe in you. I'm here to believe in you. And you need to believe in yourself. So this is so that you know that if you can watch me doing this, you know when we started this painting, there was nothing here. It was blank. All of a sudden now we have two characters who look lifelike, looking at whoever in the painting. And soon we're gonna have the dog. All this will happen with time. I don't know how it's gonna take me. As you can see, I'm taking my time with this painting. I'm not rushing. So the idea you get with what they're wearing is that it's shiny, the shiny side. Doesn't even have to be shiny though for you to have these kind of highlights. You can still have highlights like this, but they'll be a little more muted. I can still change the opacity of that layer. That's why I put my highlights on a different layer, so I can play with the opacity of the layer. So I can change the opacity of that layer to be a bit more agreeable. His is a bit sharper than hers. Hers I'm happy with. Maybe his should have been on a different layer so I can change his specifically. But hers is fine. I have no issue with hers. So in the grand scheme of things, I could also separate these layers as well. And actually, I'm actually going to do that. So let's see. When I do this, I'm just thinking. When I finish with the characters, I will likely put them into another group as well to make sure I don't have any issues with my memory management. This. So I'm going to change this name now to highlight him. I'm going to copy it, paste it into highlight her. So with highlights him, I'm going to erase my own highlights. So I'm going to find my eraser. You will not see the difference because of the other layer now coming into play for her. But I'm just trying to manage this, make sure that I don't have anything extra here. I believe that's done now. I go to highlight her. And I remove his own highlights. As you can see, it's getting lighter because it's not. Whenever you put layers on, you stack layers, it makes the drawing that much more colorful. But I'd already bothered doing that. You can do that in post in like your. You can do that in your drawing software of choice, such as Photoshop. Affinity Photo, whichever one you like, maybe Paintshop Pro. I know I use that one, so I don't know what that does, but stuff like those kind of software. Just making sure I get rid of those highlights. So that's literally all I need to do there. And now all I need to do is go to highlight him, reduce my opacity to something more manageable. So that's how it looks like there's nothing there. Go a bit higher to get something a bit more muted, you see? Let me see what that is. It's 36%. That is not bad for me, to be honest. I think I might be sticking with that. 36% seems to be the sweet spot for me. I don't want it to be super bright. Maybe I'll increase it down the line, maybe not. I don't think I will, to be honest. Because that's why I say I don't really do highlights often. I don't need highlights. Let me rephrase that. It's not I don't need highlights. I don't absolutely feel like drawing highlights all the time. That's just me. Everyone's different, right? I draw it if I feel like drawing it. Okay, so I think we're good there. What's next? Go back to her. I'm going to draw color her legs. So I need to find a good color for her now in my palettes. I could probably pick his own color. And again, it's better for me to select something for her because you never know if I get something that looks unique. Oh, that's a good shade. I'm sticking with that one. You know how I am with colors. I stick with any color. So I believe she's wearing a skirt. So that's why it's like this. It's a jean skirt, right? Interesting. So basically, remember I was talking about Korean stuff. I tend to like what they bring to the table. I never issue. I never thought about any issues, but the issue I think I tend to have majority of the time with Asian. I'm sure some people will know I'm going to say next. It's some Asian productions that they don't have dark skinned people in their productions. They tend to avoid dark skinned people like the plague. That's what baffles me. But yeah, there's no real excuse for that. But the way you would see it, you'd think there's no such people. Last time I believe they have indigenous people in that country who are dark skinned. I believe there's people who come into that country that are dark skinned. They have a lot of dark skinned people walking around that country. They don't seem to use them for their shows or anything of that nature, which is unfortunate. That's a resource that's untapped. And to be fair, the Japanese are a bit more advanced in that regard than the Koreans in terms of putting dark skinned people in their shows. The only problem I have with the Japanese is that they tend to, when they do put them in their shows, they do tend to put them in weird roles. Like one one of note is a character called Oliver in the Baki franchise. So that character, I can never understand that character. One minute they say he's like the strongest fighter in the Baki universe, and next minute he's losing to Baki. I don't understand it, but yeah, those are some of the inconsistencies I find a lot of times with Asian programming, and that's where it's kind of like I can't classify it the way I'd say it for it even be controversial. I'll just simply say that in that race, yeah, the West is at the forefront. If that's saying something, and we know how asking people are in movies in the West, especially horror movies. So I'll just leave it there. But that should let you know kind of like the sad state of engagement when it comes to asking people in shows and programs. Like we're mostly invisible. We kind of don't exist in these worlds that are made. The worlds are made without asking people's existence, and it's like asking people do not exist in this world, and it makes you wonder: is that kind of how certain people see asking people? Do they really see them as not existing in the world? Existence is so inconsequential that they don't even have to put them in anything or any show or any of any kind. Makes you really wonder. That's like a statement piece. So yeah, I find that I find that not ideal. As I said though, Japan is still ahead of Korea in that regard because they have some anime that have asking people there existing there, even if a lot of times they just fodder for the main character. And they rarely ever are the main character unless they are what's the name of this guy? Afro Samurai or the other guy. There's another guy. I think it's Sasuke. His name is literally Sasuke. There's a guy called Sasuke, I think. This dark skinned guy. He had his own anime. Brilliant anime. Really, really cool. But again, in that role, he was kind of subservient to somebody. It would be nice to see him in the lead, people coming after him, not the reverse, but still, it was something, I guess. So yeah, you can imagine my frustration when it comes to being asking and trying to watch these shows with an open mind, and you just start to realize that you can have as open a mind as you want, but the reality is that these shows don't really have people that look like me in them, and it's almost like people like that don't exist in the world. But if you were somebody who watched strictly movies all your life and you came into the world, you might have a heart attack seeing a dark skinned person because of how rare they are in these shows. They're so rare to see in these shows. It's not even funny, you know. And when they do appear in the shows, the same people also complain about the existence in the shows. You find people who pop up, talking heads who pop up and complain about the existence in the shows, and you think to yourself, like, wow, that's uh, that's cold, man. People tell you, oh, this character was not asking in the story if there was a story before. I find that a lot of shows these days are not based off any real IPs, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Because when a show is not based off an IP, it's great for the studio because they can hold on to all the revenue because they don't have to pay their author anything, which is something that shows. I could be wrong, but I think it's something that a lot of companies don't seem to like doing is paying authors. But basically, yeah, one of the examples of that, in case you're wondering what I'm saying, is like The Witcher. You can say that the guy had a deal with them. I appreciate it. But when you look at the amount of money those guys have made off that IP, it's insane that the guy would be on something like that and not be remunerated. But eventually they set things right. Thankfully, did the right thing. Because the last thing they need is bad press, you know, because they love the guy. They love the guy that wrote that series, and it's like wouldn't make any sense if the guy was making his money. And that's something I find is a feature of a lot of shows that they tend to use these IPs to death. Like Stevie King was saying, when they started out, they didn't have very much money, so he was kind of like scrounging for money, and that's when they tend to get you, you know. So God's mercy, I'll never fall into that. But find that he was somebody who had to sell a lot of his licenses, his IPs for a pittance just to get by. And it shows that a lot of these artists are not greedy, you know. And it shows that a lot of these people that buy this stuff from artists, they know exactly what they're buying. They will never tell you because they know they can never imagine this stuff themselves. They can never come up themselves. The same thing happens to Sylvester Stallone. When you say someone is desperate, and that was one desperate dude when he was younger. I did a whole lot of stuff, and then he sold his Rocky thing to people. Now he's like, what on earth are they doing with it? You know, it's like it's not even like his baby anymore. Imagine it's very hard to come up with good ideas that stick in this world. And when you do come up with one now, somebody wants to hold it onto them. If they've made a lot of money off it, they could just give it back to you and say, you know, thank you for making us rich people from this series. But then again, we'll be living in a great world. Our Lord and Savior Yeshua Mashiach wouldn't have to come back and save the world now, would he? Save his children. But that's where we are right now. If everybody was doing the right thing, then yeah, but that's not the case. People are very, very keen to do the wrong things, not the right things. So yeah, that's why Sly doesn't have his show. Everything happens for a reason. I'll say that much. Everything happens for a reason. When you have things, you know, God has given you, you need to value it. Really too, because you never know what is going to bring tomorrow. Don't take what's yours and give to somebody else. Those people, a, a lot of rich people out there are not rich because they're so smart. They're rich because they know smart people. They know people that have the ideas and they know how to get those ideas off those people. That's why they're rich. So it's something that you have to be very mindful of. And now Stephen King is like trying to get a lot of his licenses back. You know, he has his, I think they say his net worth is like 500. Last time I checked years ago, it was like 500 million. It's like, dude, how much is he gonna pay? You know, those guys to give him back his stuff. Who knows how much to ask him for? Is I don't want to go into that to be honest because yeah, the guy has given that much of himself to his craft. You just say, give him his props. We talk a lot of ish, you know, about Didi. I know he did a lot of evil stuff, but at least the guy gave the publishing of his artists. Some of the artists that asked him back, even though he made a lot of money off it. Some of these guys will never give you anything back. You can ask them 100 billion times, they will never give it back. There's something to be said about that. Of a certain demographic of people that always try to make a certain group look horrible, and then another group look angelic. When they make all these series, you never see us in them. We don't exist as far as the world is concerned, in reality and in art. I'm here drawing this piece right now, and I'm dark skin. These are dark skin characters, and our stories are about dark skin characters. So we do exist, and we do exist in stories, and a lot of the stories that a lot of people watch that they love as stories of a certain group of people belong to dark skinned people. Like The Matrix. The Matrix is about Neo. Neo is a dark skinned person. It was written by a woman called Sophia Stewart. I mentioned it here before, and I mentioned it again. That was a very special series, a very short book. I believe I bought the book recently. And it's not like it's that big, but the story was very, very powerful. I don't know how someone would just X out a whole group of people and then try to make it seem like it's normal. It's like who on planet Earth should think a group of people being second class citizens is normal and they should accept it for whatever reason, for reasons they say don't exist anymore. Those same people that say it doesn't exist anymore are the same ones that will complain when they see a dark skinned character playing a presumably white character in the series. That's the weirdness of the life we are living in today. The cognitive dissonance is at an all-time high. People just don't care anymore. They just come out and say anything they feel like saying. They don't try to vet their thoughts. They just say anything. That's why I tend to disagree. I respectfully disagree, and you can have your opinion on it, as do I. But yeah, clearly, it's not something that should be promoted or something that should be liked when it comes to a certain group of people being treated like they don't exist. And when they do get a role, they need to be grateful. Like in the director every 5 seconds. Like Wesley Snipes, the guy had his Blade franchise. He's the star of the franchise, and then you have two people just show up and they just want to overtake the franchise, and that's not nice, is it? If a dark skinned person did the same to the main character, the main character was a different demographic, would that demographic like that? Of course they wouldn't. But when it comes to us, even though I don't necessarily agree with the way certain things were handled, it would be very different. Right, so I think I'm getting somewhere with this. I think I'm more or less done with that one. I want to do the line. If it's a jean skirt, it needs to have the line which I tried to do. I'm using the same color, so it might not be ideal. But rather than doing that, let me try and finish off other parts of her outfit, just to make sure it's looking the way it's supposed to look. But this is a bit too much like the yellow color. I don't want it to be exactly yellow. Try and go for a bit of an orangish look instead. So guys, I'm not really trying to complain about anything. I just don't like certain things happening. It could happen to any group of people. Just like when Jackie Chan came to America and stuff. And he was a star in his own country. Same thing happened to Bruce Lee as well. In America, he was marginalized. He couldn't really get any real roles to showcase his skill set. Now everybody talks about how great he is. He's the greatest of the great. He's the greatest martial artist of all time to ever exist. But when he was alive, nobody cared. Nobody gave an ish. They didn't care about him being the greatest then. That's kind of what baffles me a lot of times with recognition. Like, why recognize somebody after their death? Why not give them the flowers when they're alive? Why do you have to wait till they're dead before you give them the flowers? That part confuses me so much. And it's something that my own people are guilty of as well. The Bible says that all my prophets are killed all the day long. That's kind of what happens with us. Anybody who has any semblance of truth, they always try to kill that person. Anybody who was doing the wrong things before and then trying to say the truth now, they want to kill that person. Certain things happen in this world that makes no sense. I don't understand. I have a guy, Jane Deal, exposing things. And there's another bodyguard who exposes things. And the guy who is exposing things seems to have an issue with that one exposing things. And it's like, I don't get it. Is he like the chosen one to expose things? Does he have a monopoly on exposing things? I don't get it. Is that an American thing, a dark skin American thing? Is that like what we do? It's like it's not possible for more than one person to be saying one thing at once. It has to be one specific person doing one thing. Like if you have a comedian who in the dark skin comedian who is the number one seed in America, then it has to be just that one comedian. There can't be two people, it can't be two comedians. Thus, it has to be one. And that one, if it's a one bodyguard exposing somebody, it has to be one bodyguard doing the exposition and nobody else. I don't get stuff like this, man. Are we not more interested in the truth? Is that not what matters? Does the truth not matter in this world anymore? If it ever did. It makes you wonder. It really does. I'm not really getting anywhere with this color stuff. I need to probably select my previous one. Just go with that. I'll go with this darker shade. I'll stick with that one instead. It's just like a Lord and Savior when he saw when the disciples saw someone else preaching in his name, he said, "Oh, somebody else preaching." You know, that's why you know that the disciples were Negroes because that's what you see happening today. You know, there's this person preaching your name, you know, and it's like a lot of people like, mate, it doesn't really matter as long as he's preaching the name of and then he's preaching the gospel. He's saying the right thing. Then why would he be concerned about what he's preaching? It's the same thing here. If someone is saying the truth, why would he be concerned about whether they came from here, they came from there, or whether you knew them or not? I don't get it. Like, what's that about? Truth is the truth, right? Is anything he said wrong? If everything he's saying is wrong, you know, it should be pointed out so that you know where everybody's coming from and everybody can work together. And that's one thing that kills our people is that we don't tend to work together on things. We always tend to fight unnecessarily about the most frivolous things. That's what kind of kills us. We always have to find a reason to look on somebody who looks like us and then say, "Oh no, this person didn't do this way, so therefore, you know." It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. We're here to help each other. As the Bible says, A kingdom divided against itself shall not stand, shall not, it shall fall. If we keep doing this nonsense where we keep on fighting each other about some frivolous stuff, how do we stand against the real stuff? This leads into a lot of different things. Part of which is this stuff I was talking about. We know with I don't like that word representation. A lack of presence. That's the word, presence. A lack of presence in these places, in these institutions, and it applies to everything, not just movies. It applies to like decision making, lawmakers, judges, and we have many dark-skinned judges, granted, but how many people do we have in positions of power that can affect any real change in any institution that matters in the most powerful country in the world? How many people do we have? Just more concerned about fighting each other and jumping down each other's throats and helping each other, loving each other. That's where everything stems from. The love. That's where everything was built. Only God gives that love. We have to know who God is, study His Word, be close to Him. Everything builds from there. But as long as we keep fighting each other, everything we say can and will be used against us by our enemies because we don't know we have enemies. and that's the problem. We think everybody's our friend. And then, yeah, as they say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. If you don't know your enemies are, then you're just in the dream world. Right, guys, we've gotten to the end of this stream. I didn't bore you with anything I was saying. Hope you're cool. Having a great day, afternoon, night, wherever you are. I'm really, really thankful if you lasted all the way through. If you didn't, please feel free to come back and join us again. Shout out to Belemi Press 5 again. Just as a sorry for yesterday where I did shout you out and I didn't have any feedback because my mic was off. So I do apologize for that. And I do hope that you guys can come and share this time with me again. I do appreciate you taking the time out to be here with me today. Don't forget to go to our website, which is yazat.me, yazart.me. I have a lot of stuff on there for you to enjoy. I've got a wonderful horror novel called The Germanland Saga, which is a 4-part horror series available for sale as an ebook. Can be downloaded in just 3 clicks. It will be sent into your email as well. If it doesn't get to your email, check your spam box. Thank you so much for everything. Feel free to browse the rest of my sites as well for anything else you would like on there. I really appreciate you joining me today. Hope you guys have a great day. Take it easy. God bless and ciao.